Hello, and welcome to Andy Fancher Presents, where in this episode, we meet a soft-spoken 88-year-old man of Japanese descent by the name of Daniel Hirabayashi. Today, he has agreed to share with us his 4 years of captivity, forcibly held within 2 of the 10 Japanese-American relocation centers ordered into operation following the attack on Pearl Harbor. This is Mr. Hirabayashi's first, last, and only video documentation of his internment camp experience.
Yeah, my parents came over here in 1907, and I was born July 18th in 1928 in a little town called Thomas, Washington. It's just outside of Seattle, and for the first 14 years I lived there. My parents were truck farmers. It was only a 21-acre farm, so well, back then when you did everything by hand, it was quite large. Farm was a hard life. We would work from sunrise to sundown, especially during harvest. No, it was just a hard life. And we all did well. At least I think we did.
Do you remember war breaking out in America?
Oh, yes. I was 14. Yes, I remember. Just got home from church and heard on the news that Japan had attacked Pearl Harbor. And I didn't know what Pearl Harbor was at the time, but I learned very quickly what it was.
Our west coast became a potential combat zone. Living in that zone were more than 100,000 persons of Japanese ancestry. We knew that some among them were potentially dangerous. Military authorities therefore determined that all of them, citizens and aliens alike, would have to move. So the military and civilian agencies alike determined to do the job as a democracy should, with real consideration for the people involved.
See, I was 14, and at the time I thought, well, I'm a U.S. citizen. Constitution doesn't allow it. Even to this day, I don't know how that happened. But definitely the Constitution says no.
How long was the truck drive from your farm to where they were taking you?
Well, actually to a town called Auburn, where we boarded a train, and they took us all the way to a relocation camp in Fresno, California called Pinedale. And I don't know why it took us way over there. And then the second move, we moved to Tule Lake, California. And they told us originally that we were there for our protection. And my question was, why is the gun being pointed at me and not to the outside? But as it turned out, that wasn't the truth.
So how long were you at Tule Lake?
Just a year.
So could you tell me what life was like at Tule Lake?
It was okay, it was like living in an army. Well, it's all army barracks. Each family was assigned 1 or 2 units. And at one time, there was, I think, 8 of us living in one little unit. But my sister and her husband wanted to live with us, so they added 2 more. And we were a close-knit family, so we tried to eat lunch and dinner together. But we ate in mess halls, and once a week they would make Japanese food. But during the week it'd be spaghetti, macaroni, whatever. Occasionally the guard tower would fire at somebody because they got too close to the fence or something. They told us where you could walk, and that was it. And there was the fence, and there's the guard tower. I wouldn't say it was conducive to normal living, but we got by. It wasn't that bad. Can't say it was a boring life. Monotonous, maybe, but other than that, we just kept going from day 1 and day 2 and 3, and just keep going. And after a year, they moved us to up Mountain, Wyoming. A train took us there. I think it was almost 2 days, 2 nights. It seems that way. It seemed like a long, long time. And we only traveled at night with the shades down for our protection. And then our truck took us to our new quarters to live in, and that's where I stayed for 3 years. And it was cold. Wyoming is a cold place to live. And when you're out in the country in a flat prairie, and that wind blew, it was cold. And I was kind of a big kid and kind of lied about my age. Maybe 15, I said I was 18. I got a job driving a coal truck. So I would deliver coal to each of the blocks. They paid me $8 a month. I mean, we had no income in that camp. Yeah, back then $8 a month was quite a bit. But we bought all of the clothes and things that we needed through Sears and Roebuck and Montgomery Ward, Kellogg. And we had guard towers on the perimeter of the camps. And we lived close to the guard tower. And every so often, whether he's shooting at coyotes or what, but he'd fire his rifle. I don't know what they were thinking that we didn't want to escape because we were way out in the prairie. But it was a nice little place. I don't know how you could really say I enjoyed it, but see, we were allowed to leave camp to work, and I went to work at a farm out in Illinois. I had to get up every morning, milk cows, and build hay, cut the wheat, barley. It was okay. It didn't pay much, but I had good food and something different, and I enjoyed it.
The Japanese have just officially laid down their arms. They have signed terms of unconditional surrender. It was a long road to Tokyo and a bloody one. We shall not forget Pearl Harbor. The mighty threat to civilization which began there is now laid at rest.
So what was going through you and your family's mind when y'all heard that the war had ended?
Now where do we go? A lot of them did go back, became farmers again, and did according to what they used to have. This is one family that never did go back. I was out. I wasn't in camp.
Oh, you were already out of the camp working.
Working, but my parents and my younger brother chose to move to Minneapolis. And my dad got a job as a pastry cook, and my mother worked in a garment factory. So when my parents moved to Minneapolis, then I just joined them in Minneapolis. Yeah, it was a long experience.
Following his release, Mr. Hirabayashi went on to serve 2 non-combative years in the U.S. Army. After his honorable discharge, he went on to attend college under the GI Bill. He would later open a pure oil service station and Jeep dealership in Barrington, Illinois. In the mid-1980s, he co-founded a local Dallas restaurant titled Toshio's, Taste of Japan, which he eventually retired from in 2006. And sadly, less than 3 weeks after this interview, on August 16th of 2016, Mr. Hirabayashi passed away.
Well, it may sound odd for you, but the best thing that happened to me when the war came is I got off the farm. It took a war to get me off the farm, but I appreciated it. But even to this day, I'm never bitter about camp. It happened.